Hey guys, it's Gina here. I want to go ahead and do this quick video. I wanted to go ahead and share with you this enzyme. Now, it's not a book, but it is a magazine, and I do think that it is a really good one. And I wanted to go ahead and share this one with you. It's called The Pitfalls of Parallel Marriage. So let me go ahead and read that to you. It's by Charles B. Beckert. It says, if they're not careful, couples sometimes end up living separate lives in the same home. Here are some proven ways to avoid this trap. Megan and Matt sat tentatively on two of the upholstered chairs in my office. They had moved the chairs close enough to hold hands tenderly as the conversation began. Their surprise and perhaps embarrassment at finding themselves in marriage counseling seemed evident not only from the subdued manner in which they spoke, but also in the way they looked at each other. Theirs had been almost a storybook wedding. Matt was a returned missionary, and Megan was the faithful sweetheart who waited. They had maintained their worthiness during their engagement and enjoyed the blessing of a temple ceiling on their wedding day 11 years earlier. What had gone wrong? They had done all they had been taught to do growing up. They had believed and followed the counsel that the most important things that any member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints ever ever does in this world are number one, to marry the right person in the right place by the right authority, and number two, to keep the covenant made in connection with the holy and perfect order of matrimony. Yet here they were, disappointed in the current state of their relationship and sitting in front of a stranger trying to figure out what had happened to their dreams. I think this happens a lot. I think um, I've heard of a few couples, actually, myself, of this happening to them. So this is a reason why I like reading stuff like this, because I don't think that you can ever do enough to help your marriage. I think that there's always room for growth and there's room for improvement. And yeah. So, okay, let me keep reading. Matt and Megan and others like them describe their relationship as confusing and contradictory. They don't fight and quarrel, don't criticize and demean, don't ignore one another. They sincerely love each other and care about one another's welfare, yet they are bored and dissatisfied with the relationship. They don't seem to have the fun they had in the early years of their marriage or when they were courting. This type of devitalized relationship has been labeled a parallel marriage. Just as parallel lines lie in the same plane but never touch, Matt and Megan live in the same home but without closeness. They often sense proximity but seldom togetherness. It is as though they are walking down a railroad track, each going in the same direction but on separate rails, sorry. Sorry, guys, I have stigmatism. Oh, and as much as I love reading, sometimes I have to look away and I have to, like, because it's hard for me to see. So they discuss their children and their finances, but they seldom discuss their feelings about each other or about the marriage. The next section says the malnourished marriage. It has been suggested that more marriages die of neglect than of sin. Neglect of each other and of the marriage relationship seems to be the primary problem. In cases like Matt and Megan's, President Spencer W. Kimball accurately described the condition when he said, "There are many people who do not find divorce attorneys and who do not end their marriages, but who have permitted their marriage to grow stale and weak and cheap. There are spouses who are in the low state of mere joint occupancy of the home. These people will do well to reevaluate, to renew their courting, to express their affection, to acknowledge kindness, and to increase their consideration so their marriage can again become beautiful, sweet, and growing. So you see, this is the picture right here. So you can kind of get an idea. The condition often builds up subtly and slowly. It can be particularly perilous in two career marriages when both partners focus on a marriage share of their efforts and activity and advancement and achievements outside the home. Most parallel couples cannot remember exactly when the distancing process began. How then can they recognize it in their marriage? One clue is the language used when talking about the home and family. My, not our. So a lot of the people who have problems in their marriages use um the word my a lot, like my accomplishments, like my this, my that. They stop using the words our. Um and that becomes a huge problem because then the other person feels like, they're being singled out, and not singled out, but they're kind of like left out, so that's when problems start happening. um Okay, so here goes. Um, okay. My house, my money. Individuals in a parallel relationship may use personal references, not joint ones. The constant use of these pronouns emphasizes the two individuals' separateness. Another clue may be separate activities. He has his activities with friends, she has hers with friends, but seldom or never do they find their enjoyment and satisfaction together. My experience teaches me that most couples sense their relationship drifting apart when they can recognize the problem of parallelism. There is hope. The earlier they recognize it, the better is their chance for a full recovery. There are a number of things they can do to mend the marriage and recapture their joys of earlier times. So the next section is actually attitude adjustment, which I think a lot of us sometimes need to recognize that we need to change our attitude in some way or somehow. Attitude adjustment. In a sacrament meeting I once attended, a young speaker told the congregation that we would find let me show you this picture right here. Something of great value attached to the bottom of the benches on which we were sitting. The message taped under the bench that day has served me well for more than 20 years in my personal life and counseling work. So often we seek a change in our condition when what we really need is a change in our attitude. Separation and divorce should not be solutions for parallel marriages. If couples do not learn how to deal with relationship problems early before these become severe, their inaction will almost certainly damage their future marital relationship. What is needed to avoid the problem of parallel marriage is a change of attitude from. Hold on, guys. It does need a minute. Hold on. My eyes. Okay. Complacency and selfishness to excitement and service. We can make it happen, but we must believe it is within our power to reconfigure and redefine our relationship. Here are a number of helpful techniques. Move toward we, us, and ours. Many couples experience almost immediate results when they return to doing things as a team. This can be encouraged by referring to the home, the children, and even the problems in a way that reflects joint responsibility. Start by using the words we, us, and ours in describing them. This strategy will encourage more closeness mentally, emotionally, and physically. Rediscover the magic. I asked Matt and Megan to describe what it was the first attracted them to each other and what they did during the courtship that resulted in mutual feelings of love. Both were able to do so easily. Once they had described that early relationship and compared it to what they were doing, actually not doing in the present, it became apparent what their marriage had become parallel. Megan had absorbed herself so much in motherhood and taking care of the home that little was left for development of their relationship. Matt, almost obsessed with the desire and progress to his career, invested untold hours in his efforts to succeed. Their opportunities for spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy were limited. They could see the need to rediscover the magic and to explore again the strategies that worked for them earlier in their relationship. So, I definitely believe that that is what happens with most couples. I think that like for me, I get to stay home and watch my kids. I get to you know be here at home, but I actually am able to do what I like to do now. Before I was just always watching over the kids, and it was always about the kids, 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 kids. Now I actually get to do what I like to do, and my husband embraces that. He allows me to do what I like to do while he works, and he provides for our family and stuff. I mean, I work from home too. Don't think I don't. I work from home. I make money from home, but I also get to do what I like to do, so I don't feel like, I'm not getting anywhere in life. It's just always about the kids or about him. So with him, he gets to go to work and he earns his money and he is succeeding in his career. He's, you know, and he gets to come home and spend time with us. And, so I think that that's what works. And but we talk to one another. We have a lot of communication, and we have our ups and downs like everybody else. But I mean, I think that that's somewhat of a balance. And when two people are actually working, it's really hard to find time to. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it just becomes a little bit harder because it's just you have your time so crammed, that you know a lot of stress is involved. Kids' homework, just a lot of things get involved, and you kind of lose your closeness. Like for us, like for me and my husband, what really works is like we just started having our day dates. Like we've never had anybody babysit our kids, so we've really relied on having our day dates. And my husband's really fortunate to have um, to work for a company who gives him so many PTAs and stuff. So whenever he requests off, those are usually our day dates, and then we just go pick up the kids together. So I think that brings a lot of closeness to us, and we get to spend time together and actually be like when there was a courtship and stuff. So yeah, so I think that's very, very important, not to lose yourself with just my instead of becoming a we, and learning to have a balance. Okay, so okay, do what works. I thought Megan and Matt were going to laugh when I told them the secret of a happy and healthy marriage. Do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Could anything be more plain than this? Do not let the simplicity of this strategy make you doubt it. If you are feeling that your marriage is heading for a parallel state, stop and rediscover the techniques you used in times past when you were initially building your relationship. With few exceptions, they will still work. Speak the language of love. Another old, reliable technique for keeping love alive in marriage is to tell your spouse at least once a day how much you love and appreciate him or her, but say it in a language your spouse understands best. Some of us like words, some appreciation actions, and some respond best to touch. Discover and use your spouse's love language. Touch to say hello and goodbye. Touching when one is leaving home or returning can be a very effective way to bring parallel tracks together. The partner who is leaving for a period of time not just to put out the cat, can seek out the spouse and loving say goodbye and a hug or a kiss. The spouse who is returning can seek out the partner and use the same technique to say, I missed you and I'm glad I can be with you again. You will feel the benefit of these simple behaviors almost immediately. Look for a good, don't be a fault finder, be a good finder. Negativism and criticism create distance between two people. Being positive and complimentary creates closeness. Our focus needs to be on what is good in our relationship rather than what is bothering us. And we can help ourselves keep this focus by giving our spouses at least one sincere compliment a day. We have been commanded to cease to find fault with one another. When we do this, not only will our spouse be happier, but we will find that we are too. Avoid the discouraging word. Most of us enjoy being around someone who builds us up and makes us feel good. Using words of encouragement, love, respect, courtesy, appreciation, admiration, and gratitude as we talk with one another will motivate us to spend more time together. Smell the roses. Wise couples find a few minutes each day to ponder the blessings of their marriage, its potential for eternity, how much they appreciate each other, and so forth. There is a double benefit in this if we not only think these thoughts, but also express them to our mates in word and deed. I think that's very, very true. I know that I need to work on fault finding sometimes because sometimes I get like a little upset about like small things and stuff. But I do try to compliment my husband as much as I can. I love everything about him. He's a great man. He has a great heart. He always looks for me and he always, reassures me that he loves me and stuff. And sometimes I feel that, I need to do a little bit more of that. But I do compliment him and whenever he takes us out to eat or whatever, I always make sure that the kids say thank you to him, and I tell him thank you for his hard work or whatever. I also try to do nice things for him as much as I can, to reassure him that I love him and only him. So yeah, just little things like that, like we hug each other, we stare into each other's eyes, we look at each other, we do little things that, still shows, we still show each other that we love each other. I think that that's very, very important. Um, okay. Experience the wonder of the weekly date, which is what we are finally experiencing now that my daughter is in kinder and she goes full day. Not only does the much recommended weekly date allow husband and wife to spend time and enjoying enjoyable activities together, it also sends the message that the relationship is important. One couple I worked with found an easy way to plan dates. Each submitted a list of 10 activities he or she would enjoy with the partner. They cut their two papers into 20 small suggestion slips and put these in a bowl. Then each Sunday during the weekly marriage council meetings, they had established they would draw one slip from the bowl and pursue that activity as their date for the week. Render, due benevolence. It is important to treat each other with due benevolence. As recommended by the Apostle Paul, benevolence would include such behaviors as respect, courtesy, kindness, and generosity. What a wonderful blessing a marriage can be when we treat each other with love. Okay, the next section, guys, is building here for eternity. The thought provoking words of Doctrine and Covenants, chapter 130, verses 2. That same sociality which exists among us here will exist among us there, suggests that we ought to work carefully here and now to develop our mortal relationships into the kind that will bring us joy in the post-mortal life. We cannot assume that this development will automatically become easier when we are through with mortality. Amulet cautioned that this life is the time to prepare for the next phase of eternity. It says, See Alma chapter 34, verse 32. Fortunately, no one needs to settle for a mediocre marriage. The Book of Mormon also teaches us men are that they might have joy. So that's in 2nd Nephi chapter 2, verse 25. A large measure of that joy comes through marriage when we learned as husband and wife to walk side by side, not simply on parallel paths, but together in love. And I'm not sure if that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. And then it goes on to other stuff. But I think that one was a really, you know, it's not a chapter because it's not a book, it's a magazine. But I think it was a really great one. And I really enjoyed reading that to you all. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. It says 5 good bonus tips right there. And you can go ahead and pause that right there if you want to read it. I can read it to you, or take a picture of it. And you can hold that. Let me just read it to you really quickly. 5 good ideas and bonus tips. Here are a few more ideas and one added tip to help you build closeness with your spouse. Make the effort to find out more about your spouse's job or home activities. Show an interest in learning about your spouse's daily responsibilities, both the enjoyable and the burdensome aspects. That's something that me and my husband actually do. Like he always wants to know like what I'm doing or whatever, so like I'll tell him, I'm renting apartments today, or I sold this, or I rented an apartment today, or I did a beauty video today, or I did my makeup look or whatever. He's all about my stuff too, and I like to hear about his day also. So that's something good that we have a lot of communication. And he reassures me that what I like to do is okay with him and is okay with me, and he allows me to pursue what I like to do. So, and I vice versa, I allow him to, or I don't allow him. I appreciate everything he does, like his art, or whatever he likes to do. I appreciate what he does too. So number 2, it says explore new ways to help. And then it says, husbands, if your wife is primarily responsible for caring for the home, and statistics show that this is commonly true even when both spouses work, find out what you can do to help with the load and clear the way for the two of you to spend more time together. Don't tell her how to do her work better. Let her teach you. Wives, if your husband isn't the kind to speak up about the pressure he's under at work, can you find a way to lend your listening ear and let him know you're concerned? See, that's something that we do too. It doesn't really pressure me anymore about like housework and stuff. I know at the beginning that was one of the issues that we had, but we don't do that to one another anymore. Like if I can't get to the dishes or whatever, he'll just, when he gets home, like he'll do it or whatever. But he doesn't like, we don't force things on ourselves or whatever. Like we learn to compromise on a lot of things. We help. He helps out a lot around the house, and I listen to him when he's talking about his things at work and stuff, problems or his stress or whatever levels. So that's something that we also do. So that's, I mean, I think we're doing pretty good. Those are the first 2 points, and I think we're doing pretty good. So number 3 says, think about how your spouse's talents and strengths might be used in service to others. Encourage this and take part yourself so that you are serving together. This one, I guess we're both, the talents that we both have is that we're very serviceable, and we try to help others out. We help my parents out as much as we can. We help his side of the family also in time of need, and we try to encourage a lot of service. And sometimes it's hard because sometimes it's hard on us, to find our balance when we're always servicing. But we try to work on that as much as we can. Number 4, it says, make time to talk about things other than children or family finances. Do you really know how your spouse feels about your relationship? About plans to reform local government or build the new school? About plans for retirement? I mean, we talk about all that stuff all the time. We mean, we talk about financial things. We talk about a lot of family things, but we also take the time to, talk about other things, not just about those things, because we don't want to stress each other out. We get stressed out. We, you know, we do talk about those things, but we try to talk about other things that don't stress us out either, because then we get in a bad mood and then things happen. So, okay, so number 5, study the scriptures together. That's something that we do need to work on. We used to do this all the time, and we haven't been doing it as a couple anymore. So that's something that we do need to be working on. What does it truly mean to have a contrite spirit? Who is our neighbor? One who may be figuratively stripped and wounded, and how can we help him or her? And now for that tip. You don't need to rely on a list like this from someone else to help you reach out to your companion. You probably know your spouse better than anyone else in this world, particularly the interests and activities he or she feels are most important and enjoyable. Come up with your own list of joint activities, even if only in your mind. When you each look for opportunities to support the other's growth and enjoyment, both of you will be happier and you will find ways to grow closer. So, yeah, I really liked reading this, and I think that this is a lot of help for people who are not married and people, who are looking to get married, people who are still like in single adults, or people who are in a marriage who are actually having trouble, so that, you can help your relationship in any way, shape, or form. So thank you so much for being here and listening to me read this to you. Hopefully this helps you in some way or somehow, or it can help. Please share this video if you think it would help somebody out. You can actually find this magazine on LDS.org. You can actually download it. There's also the app, the LDS app. I think that's it. I'm not sure if you can actually purchase it. Well, maybe you can go to Ensign and actually purchase it there too. But yeah, you can actually subscribe to these and they will be mailed to you also. But like I said, if you have the app, you can download it on your iPad or on your phone, and you can actually get it there and read it there. And this was actually, let me see what edition or what. Just usually it says it on the side. This is from May 1st, 2000, Ensign. Yeah. And this was actually given to me by my sister, so I'm not sure if it was my sister that gave it to me or my mom. She gave it to my mom. I'm not sure, but I got it from somebody. So yeah, I really liked that Ensign. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to my channel. Thanks for all the support. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.